Good evening. My guest on my tent today is Gary Collier from the DCWC. He's very kindly agreed to come over and spend a few minutes talking about the charity. I know that Gary first met Akalama in Kathmandu in 2002, wasn't it, Gary?
It was.
And since then he's been inspired to start the DCWC in the UK. So Gary, can you tell us a bit about the charity?
Okay, yeah, since 2002, basically I met Akka at that particular time. I was pretty impressed by this young lad who had visions he came from a poor village himself, and he had big ideas on how he wanted to put something back. He'd done alright since he come to Kathmandu, and he wanted to help the villages where he came from and the poor in general of Nepal. And as the government had let him down and weren't really doing anything, he felt it was his duty to try and do something. So we came back to the UK, I came back to the UK and did some sponsored walks and different things. I just intended really to raise a bit of money by doing some things, but things spiralled and people came along and different things happened, and over the last 8 years the charity's grown into 9 trustees, 3 patrons, 12 schools, 1 hospital, and now takes up a bit more time our time that we could do with sometimes, but it's very fulfilling, and when you go out to the different projects, which we do very regularly, it's great to see what it's done and how it's changed the livelihood of the people.
So you run these treks to Nepal regularly in order to get people like myself interested in the charity. These are treks to Everest Base Camp, and you've done some others. I believe there's been a trip to Island Peak and Sholar Pass and various other places. Can you tell us a bit about that?
The great thing about the charity treks is that we raise money for the charity, so that all the money that is raised from these goes to our projects. At the moment, this year's will go to the hospital. A great advantage to us is that when we actually take people to do the trek, if we can get them out to the village, then we know that that is the best way for us to keep people on board. So it's okay trying to get people interested from afar, but if we get them out to places like the hospital village, they see the poor people, they see how beautiful they are, how selfless they are, and that tends to help us to keep them on board, and then people will then get involved and help us raise further money or maybe to volunteer and such.
So from that point of view, it's a real hands-on charity. The people who go, and people like myself who maybe raise a bit of money here and then go to Nepal, they actually see where their money's going.
See, it's totally essential that they see where it's going. It's every penny of all the money that we raise. We as 9 trustees, we're totally voluntary. All the money goes to projects. The great thing is not only do they see that the money's gone to these projects, but also when we're actually out there, they kind of see how we work. They get to know us a little better. They then understand, and they can tell that they trust with us and believe with us, and when they meet Akka and all our other people who are part of the charity, then they know that all the money's going to where it's supposed to go.
So, I mean, we are told that this is the age of austerity, and we're bombarded these days from the media and television, and there are a lot of high-profile charities out there that raise a lot of money and do a lot of good work. I mean, people maybe are feeling a bit overloaded. How would you say then, what would you say to persuade people to give to your charity in these hard times?
I think it's a difficult one. I think that people should only ever give to a charity that they genuinely feel. I mean, me myself, I give to other charities as well as work for our own. And of course you want to give to those that are closest to your heart, and I think that all the, or most of the charities out there all do a good job, and that people should do that. If people have an interest to help people who are a lot poorer than ourselves, the annual average wage in Nepal is still around £150 per year. There are people in the rural areas of Nepal are still desperately poor, and these people are so selfless and are so giving. And you know, if your thing is to, you know, is to help people, you know, that are a lot less fortunate than yourself, then, you know, give us a try.
Yeah, absolutely. I've known Gary for a long time, and many years ago he introduced me to the concept of a book of ripping geezers, and the sort of people that this book might contain. And I can honestly say that Gary would almost certainly be on the page 1 of the book of ripping geezers. Gary Collier, thank you very much.
And I would just like to add, John Wright would also be on page 1 of that book of ripping geezers. The Mutual Respect Society. Well done, mate.
This is John Wright signing off from my tent today. Hopefully we'll have another guest for you soon. Thank you very much.
Namaste.
Good night.